I'd like to just say a couple of words about the chief. First of all, I'm just very impressed with his professionalism and how really on the job he's been for us. You can all be very impressed about his review and his capacity for understanding who we are and our needs. He is a 24-year veteran of the fire service. He is currently serving as the battalion chief here in the North Shore Fire Department. He teaches fire certification classes for Gateway Technical College, since the man has nothing else to do. And he is a Wisconsin State Certified Fire Officer 1, Fire Instructor 1, and Fire Inspector. And in January, Chief Madak will be one of the presenters at Wisconsin's EMS Association Working Together Conference, along with other featured emergency service educators that they bring in from all around the United States. And we have one of those wonderful people right here speaking to us tonight. Please join me in welcoming John Madak.
Well, thank you for the wonderful introduction. So a few months back, Holly had reached out to the North Shore Fire Department and said that the emergency plan that was in place had a few cobwebs on it, and we wanted to dust those off. So we had sat down, we looked through the plan, reviewed it, and she has done a fabulous job with coming up with a very, very comprehensive emergency plan. I understand that all of you have received a copy of it. Hopefully it does not collect cobwebs in your condo, and it's something that should be reviewed somewhat on a regular basis. I'm going to start off by just telling a little bit about North Shore Fire Department. North Shore Fire Department is a consolidated fire department. Back in 1995, we had combined all seven of the North Shore communities. So we currently operate with 5 fire stations that are full-time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Christmas, New Year's, and Thanksgiving, we're open for business. We don't necessarily want your business, but we are open for business. In 2016, we have responded to 8,244 calls for service. Out of that, 75% of those calls were emergency medical calls. So the fire department does operate the ambulance service and the paramedic service. And then the other 25% were fire-related calls. The fire service in general has been moving to a different approach. When I started in the fire service over 24 years ago, we looked at ourselves as that service that people picked up the phone, called 911, and we responded. Of course, we still do that, but the trend has been to take more of a proactive approach rather than a reactive. The reactive being, if you need help, we come help you. The proactive approach is doing things like we're doing tonight. Because if we show up here in an emergency and you didn't know what to do, or we could have taught you a life-saving skill, we could have taught you something about injury prevention, that's much more valuable to not ever see you, rather see you in these settings than when you truly need it in an emergency. So we're there for both. Like I said, this is more of a trend that's trying to break the mold of educating other people to help themselves. So why do we plan for things? Why do we create plans like this? In my words, and many other people's words, if you fail to plan, then plan to fail. And in an emergency situation is when we don't want failure to take place. I think it's easy to assume, read through this, and think that we understand it, grasp the concepts. They seem pretty easy. Maybe this was something we learned back in grade school when the fire departments were visiting. Because basically the concepts in here, we are out teaching in the schools, and the kids are grasping those. But the issue comes into play is that a lot of the things in here look great on paper, but when the actual emergency occurs, and we have live smoke, live fire, and there's a true emergency, it may not be as easy to react to it as it would look on this document. And that's part of why we're here tonight, is to talk through some things. As Holly mentioned at the end, we'll take some questions. I'm pretty confident I'm going to cover pretty much every aspect, so I'll be surprised if you can stump me with a question. So a couple little facts that I wanted to go through. One thing, fire moves very fast. It doubles about every 10 to 20 seconds. So from the time a fire starts, our primary exits are going to be blocked within less than 4 minutes. And Underwriters Laboratory had done a big test a number of years ago. As we become more proactive, science is really playing a role into our profession. And what they did is they took, in their laboratory, a side-by-side 10 by 12 room that they built. In one of the rooms, it had furniture from, let's say, the 1950s, and then the room next to it had furniture from what you'd go purchase today. What's the difference between the two types of furniture? Anyone know? Synthetics, right. So when we had the man-made cotton fibers in our furniture, they didn't burn as hot and they didn't burn as fast. Now as we move to everything synthetic, you can imagine if we walk around our condo, we can identify a ton of plastics and different things. Plastic is basically a petroleum product, so once it's heated up, it almost serves like a flammable liquid. So what they did is they started a fire in a waste paper basket side by side. And what they found was that in the room of the furniture, the legacy furniture, that was the man-made cotton fibers, took about 28 minutes to fully get going and block our primary exits. It took 3 minutes and 42 seconds in the other room because the fire is accelerated that much faster because of those products that we make things with today. So what does that mean for us? We need to plan, we need to be prepared. In 2016, just like every other fire department in the country, North Shore Fire Department reports to a national database. And what they do is at the end of the year, they develop reports and they come out with all the fire statistics. In 2016, there were 3,392 fire fatalities. Of those, 2,735, which is about 80% of those fire deaths, occurred in our own homes. So when we talk about homes, we're talking about condos, single-family homes, duplexes, multifamily residential homes. So there's a significant amount of fires in those residential settings. Residential fires that we see not only in our communities but across the nation, number one cause is cooking, unattended cooking. And if we look at the setting that we're in here, if we're in a single family house, it's our home and we affect ourselves. When we look at the setting we're in, a mistake can affect many different people in this building, correct? So safety is not only a part of our daily routine, what we should do, but to keep ourselves safe, but it's also to keep everybody else safe in the building. If we look at cooking, we're probably on a small cooking fire at least once a week in the communities we serve. Not all of them get to the point where they're large, but what happens is people start to cook, we live busy lives, they get distracted, cooking becomes unattended, the next thing you know, we have a fire in the kitchen. And like I said, when the fire is doubling that fast, it's important